They said kids make up stories, that their imagination runs wild, that they mix fantasy with truth until no one can tell what's real anymore. That's what they said about 12-year-old Emma Caldwell the day she stood in front of her class and proudly told everyone that her mom was a Navy SEAL. The classroom went silent at first, then filled with laughter, that sharp, mocking kind of laughter that burns deep in a child's chest. "Girls can't be SEALs," one boy shouted. "You're lying," another sneered, and though Emma's cheeks burned, her voice stayed firm. "She is," she whispered, clutching the frayed strap of her backpack. "My mom's a SEAL. She's away on a mission." But the more she said it, the louder they laughed. Even the teacher, Mrs. Carmichael, gave her that soft, pitying smile, the kind adults give when they think a child's heart is trying too hard to protect itself. "Emma," the teacher said gently, "maybe your mom's in the Navy, or maybe she just works with them. SEALs are a special kind of soldier, honey. It's very rare." Emma didn't reply. She just lowered her eyes, wishing she hadn't said anything. Because how could she explain something no one believed? Her mom, Commander Sarah Caldwell, had always told her that strength didn't need an audience. "You don't have to prove the truth, Em," she'd said the night before she left for deployment. "The truth proves itself, in time." Sarah had kissed her daughter's forehead and whispered, "Be brave, my warrior." That was 3 months ago. 3 months of silence. 3 months of kids whispering that her mom had probably abandoned her or made up the whole thing. The rumors grew louder every day. "If your mom's really a SEAL," one boy teased, "why isn't she on the news?" Emma bit her tongue, staring out the window, imagining her mother somewhere far away, maybe under the ocean, maybe in a desert, maybe saving someone she'd never meet. It was the only way she could breathe through the hurt. Things got worse after Parent Day was announced. Every kid would bring their mom or dad to talk about their job. When Mrs. Carmichael announced it, the class erupted in excitement, except Emma. She froze in her seat. Her mom was still deployed, and her father had died when she was 6. The thought of standing there alone while everyone else had someone beside them made her stomach twist. That night, she sat at the kitchen table with her grandmother, a tired woman with soft gray hair and eyes that seemed to understand too much. "You could stay home that day," her grandmother suggested gently. "Say you're sick." But Emma shook her head. "Mom wouldn't want me to hide," she said. "She always says facing the truth is braver than running from it." Her grandmother smiled sadly. "You're your mother's daughter, all right." The morning of Parent Day arrived with rain tapping against the classroom windows. One by one, parents filled the room, firefighters, doctors, teachers, store managers, nurses. Everyone was clapping, laughing, proud. Then it was Emma's turn. Mrs. Carmichael cleared her throat. "Emma," she said softly, "do you have someone here today?" Emma stood, her knees trembling. "My mom couldn't come," she began, her voice small but steady. "She's serving overseas. She's a Navy SEAL." The room went quiet again, and for a heartbeat, she thought maybe, just maybe, they would believe her this time. But then came the snickers. "Liar," someone whispered. Another voice followed. "Girls can't be SEALs." Emma's throat tightened. She wanted to scream that her mom was stronger than anyone in that room, that she'd seen her crawl through mud in training videos, that she'd felt the calluses on her mother's hands when they hugged. But all that came out was a trembling whisper. "She's telling the truth." Mrs. Carmichael sighed softly, then changed the subject. Emma sat down, her heart breaking in silence. At lunch, 3 boys cornered her by the lockers. "Your mom's fake," one said, shoving her shoulder. "If she's a SEAL, prove it." Emma didn't move. "She doesn't need to prove anything," she muttered. "Oh yeah," the tallest boy jeered. "Then where is she? Off fighting imaginary bad guys." The laughter rang out again, until the hallway door slammed open. At first, no one understood what was happening. The heavy sound of boots echoed down the hall. Then came a voice, sharp and commanding, "Clear the corridor." Students froze, eyes wide. A group of uniformed Navy SEALs strode into the hallway, 10 of them, dressed in tactical gear, their faces calm but focused. Every kid stepped back, whispering in shock. Even the teachers looked confused, unsure what to say. The lead SEAL, a tall man with a black vest and a calm presence, scanned the room and then spoke into his radio. "Target located." Then he looked straight at Emma. "Caldwell?" he asked. Emma blinked, stunned. "Why yes," she whispered. The man nodded. "Your mother sent us." The words hit the room like thunder. Every whisper stopped. Every laugh vanished. She wanted to make sure you got this. He reached into his pocket and handed Emma a small, sand-colored envelope. Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside was a photo, her mom in full SEAL gear, helmet under her arm, smiling at the camera. On the back, written in her mother's bold handwriting, were 5 words, "Told you I'd come back." The class erupted into stunned silence. The teacher's mouth opened, but no sound came out. "Wait," one of the boys stammered, "your mom's, real." The SEAL turned to him with a small, knowing grin. "Real as they come," he said. "One of the best operators we've ever had." Another SEAL stepped forward and saluted Emma. "Your mom saved my life in Syria," he said quietly. "She told us to make sure you knew she was proud." Tears welled up in Emma's eyes. She clutched the photo, feeling the weight of every word, every sleepless night, every insult she'd endured. "She's okay," she whispered. The SEAL nodded. "She's fine. She'll be home soon." Then, without another word, the unit turned and walked out, leaving the school in stunned silence. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Mrs. Carmichael wiped her eyes and whispered, "Emma, we owe you an apology." Word spread like wildfire through the school. By the end of the day, even the principal came to find Emma, offering to hold a special assembly to honor her mother's service. But Emma didn't want that. She just wanted people to stop laughing. That afternoon, when the final bell rang, the same kids who had mocked her stood by the door, waiting. "Hey, Emma," one of them said awkwardly. "We didn't know." Emma looked at them, her heart still sore but her mother's words echoing in her head, "You don't have to prove the truth. The truth proves itself." So she just nodded and walked past them, holding her backpack a little tighter. That night, as she sat in her room with the photo on her desk, she heard a familiar knock at the door. Her heart leapt. When she turned, her grandmother was standing there, and behind her, dressed in fatigues, with tired eyes and a smile that melted every ounce of pain away, was her mother. "Mom," Emma breathed. Sarah didn't speak. She just dropped her duffel bag and opened her arms. Emma ran into them, burying her face against her mother's shoulder, the smell of sand and salt still clinging to her uniform. For a long time, they just held each other. "I saw the video," Sarah murmured softly. "Your teacher sent it to the base. You handled it like a warrior." Emma laughed through her tears. "They called me a liar," she said. Sarah pulled back and touched her cheek. Then they learned what truth looks like. In the weeks that followed, the story spread far beyond their small town. News outlets picked it up. Girl bullied for claiming mom was a SEAL proved right when unit arrived at school. People across the country wrote letters, thanking Sarah for her service and Emma for her courage. For the first time in a long time, Emma felt proud not just of her mom, but of herself. She realized that strength wasn't just about fighting battles overseas, sometimes, it was about standing firm in your own hallway when everyone else doubts you. Her mother told her once, bravery isn't about who you fight, it's about what you stand for. And Emma finally understood. Months later, at the school's Veterans Day assembly, Mrs. Carmichael invited Sarah to speak. The auditorium was full. Parents, teachers, and students watched as the commander took the stage, tall and calm, her medals glinting under the lights. "My name is Commander Sarah Caldwell," she began, her voice steady. "I serve with the United States Navy SEALs. And yes, women serve too." A wave of whispers rippled through the crowd, but Sarah kept speaking. "But I'm not here today to talk about me. I'm here to talk about my daughter. Because bravery doesn't always wear a uniform. Sometimes, it sits quietly in a classroom, holding on to the truth when no one else believes it." The audience fell silent. Emma felt her eyes sting as her mom looked directly at her. "Courage," Sarah said, "is contagious. My daughter reminded me of that." The room erupted in applause, and for the first time, Emma didn't shrink under the attention. She stood a little taller, her heart full. When the ceremony ended, a young girl approached Emma shyly. "I told people my mom's a firefighter," she said, "but they laughed too. They said girls can't be firefighters." Emma smiled gently and handed her the photo of her mom. "You keep that strength," she said softly. "Someday they'll see the truth." The girl nodded, her eyes shining. And as Emma walked home that day, the world seemed a little different, not because everyone now believed her, but because she no longer needed them to. Months passed, and Sarah's next deployment loomed ahead. The night before she left, she sat with Emma on the porch, the stars stretching endlessly above. "Are you scared?" Sarah asked quietly. Emma shook her head. "No," she said, "you taught me to be brave." Sarah smiled, wrapping an arm around her. Then I've done my job. They sat in silence, the night air filled with crickets and the steady beating of two hearts that had been through more than most could imagine. You know, Emma said after a while, they don't laugh anymore. Sarah chuckled softly. No, I suppose they don't. But even if they did, Emma added, I wouldn't care. Sarah looked at her daughter and felt something deep, a mix of pride, awe, and gratitude. That's my girl, she whispered. That's my warrior. Years later, when Emma was grown, she followed her mother's footsteps, not into the military, but into teaching. On her first day as a teacher, she saw a shy little boy sitting alone at the back of her classroom, holding a photo of a woman in uniform. My mom's a pilot, he said nervously when she asked. But nobody believes me. Emma smiled, her heart swelling with a familiar ache. Well, she said, kneeling beside him, then maybe they just need to learn what truth looks like. And in that quiet moment, surrounded by the sound of children's voices and the sunlight pouring through the windows, Emma understood that her mother's lesson had come full circle, that courage, when passed down with love, becomes something unstoppable. It becomes legacy. It becomes truth. Because sometimes, the bravest battles aren't fought on distant shores. They're fought in the hearts of those who choose to believe, even when no one else does.